Yo, what is going on, guys? It is Kyle here from Speed Bets, bringing you guys another UFC full card breakdown. Super sorry I missed last week. Had a lot of fucking school shit to deal with. Super busy week for me. Didn't have a chance to make the video. Didn't stop us from absolutely cashing out on the bets, though. In the Discord, in place of the video, I sent out a little cheat sheet. I'll let you guys take a look at this right here. I gave out my top three favorites. We had DR, Vallejos inside the distance, and Carly Judice. Carly came through with ease. I knew that Yanesi Dubin or whatever was just a trash can that got a lucky KO on the Contender Series. If people were picking her were insane. I don't know how they were picking her. They were insane. Vallejos inside the distance. It was a setup fight. He was meant to knock out Choi. It is what it is. GR. Man, this guy came in. He missed weight by like 5 pounds. Looked like he didn't give a fuck in the world. I don't know. I was regretting that one after watching the fight for sure. But whatever. He looked good on paper, so you got to go with it. Best dogs, number one dog, Carlos Vera. Who else is giving out a plus 600 underdog as their best dog? Come on, man. I knew that Mustafa or whatever the hell. The gym he's training at in Africa, there's like not one single credible jiu-jitsu like high level trainer associated with that. Like there's none. I knew this guy's submission defense would get tested if the fight ever got to the ground. I was even thinking if Vera got dropped, he could just pull a sweep or something. I wasn't expecting Vera to come out and then head kick, knock him down, take the back with ease, but he gets it done. I saw the sub was imminent. I knew that whatever his name could not defend submissions. He had no training there. Super raw like a striker. I mean, this guy has no jiu-jitsu training. It's not his fault. It doesn't make him a bad fighter. It just means that Carlos Vera is a jiu-jitsu expert. He's got Ryan Hall in the corner. He's going to get a submission. Kurt Holobaugh, I'm a little hurt about this one. I really thought Kurt Holobaugh won that fight. Giving the first round to Hernandez on that one judge's scorecard. What are you doing? Like 30-27 was the most insane scorecard I've seen in a while. And then Roman Dolidze, he took it easily. I don't know why he was the underdog to begin with. I get it, he lost to Marvin Vettori the first time, but Marvin Vettori with an injury, like a year layoff, a 2 year layoff maybe. What are we doing here? I don't know. Round lines, we swept 3 for 3. Lima was a little bit sweaty. I thought he was going to get that knockout early, but Perez got a hell of a chin. Halabar Hernandez, never a doubt there. And then Ewan Cunningham. This one was like a plus 100 bet or like a minus 110. I don't know why this fight was not favored to go the distance. Yu is not a finisher. Yeah, a little ashamed to admit I was kind of on Cunningham to win the fight. I thought that his takedown defense would hold up, but unfortunately it did not. So we took the over 2.5 to be safe, and that cashed out for us. Let's get right into the card, man. I'm super excited to be talking about this one. Got some good insights here. Going to give you guys some bets that I already have laid down, some bets that I might be looking to lay. Maybe we'll talk a couple parlays at the end, but let's get right into it. First fight on the card, we have Guram Kutateladze taking on Kawi Fernandez. This one right here, kind of a textbook. I think what it's going to look like is a striker versus a grappler, but Guram is not much of a grappler. In his last fight against Vucenic, he showed some great control, some roll throughs, much stuff like that. But primarily, this guy's kind of been a striker. His takedown offense is like 20%. A lot of people think of this guy. He trains with Hamzat. I don't know if you guys remember when Hamzat pulled out against Whitaker. Guram was the one who posted on his story the picture of like Hamzat with an emoji over his face, like thinking he died or something. But yeah, Guram, he trains in that camp. He trains with some great, phenomenal fighters. He's faced Mateusz Gamrot, Demirez Magulov, Elves Brenner. I mean, like, you're not really going to be taking down many of those guys. Like, taking down Gamrot over and over, not really going to happen. Taking down Demir, not going to happen. Demir's underrated as hell. That man's going to run through the GFL roster. Kawi Fernandez, he has to work from range here. I mean, I feel like these heights are, I don't know, I feel like Kawi Fernandez just generally looks like the same height, if not taller than Guram. But I guess we'll see at the weigh-ins. Kawi's got to keep his range. He's got to use those kicks. He's got to basically snipe the legs. He has to snipe Guram's legs from range. Guram's kick defense is not the greatest I've ever seen. I mean, like I said, he was dominating Elvis Brenner before taking that loss. Kawi Fernandez, he's shown a little bit of a rustling hole. Against Mark Diakese, Mark Diakese's going through his phase where like he used to be an entertaining striker, and then he like found out that if he wants to win, all he has to do is lay on top of you, and then that's all he was doing. If I'm not mistaken, Mark Diakese had like 7 or 8 minutes of control time in that fight, and it was still a split decision just based off the damage that Kawi was putting out on the feet. Like, this guy's no slouch. I think these odds are incredibly wide. I'm going to be picking Guram because I think he's going to find the takedowns when it matters. But I would definitely not recommend betting on Guram. I would not count Kawi Fernandez out. You could probably look at like a Kawi Fernandez plus 3.5. I think this fight's going long. I don't think either of them is going to finish the other. Guram, he's not really much of a submission threat. He's only got one submission win in his career. Maybe a knockout, but I don't see that either. His ground and pound isn't that great. I think Cowboy Fernandez is more live to finish this fight than Guram is. But for the official pick, give me Guram Kutateladze by decision. Up here we have a rematch taking place in the bantamweight division. Nathan Fletcher taking on Calvin Loughran. And these guys, I say it's a rematch. The guys fought in the amateur scene probably like 6-7 years ago. Obviously, a lot's changed, but in some ways, not a whole lot has changed. Nathan Fletcher, still a very raw striker. Calvin Loughran, this guy, I don't know what the hell he's doing. In the Cage Warriors, this guy, he's letting his hands fly. He's throwing in flurries. He's throwing in combos. He's mixing it up. And he has the wrestling base to back it up. Nathan Fletcher, this guy's like a pure grappler. Now, I said back in Cage Warriors because in the UFC, Calvin Loughran just seems afraid. He seems super, super timid. Against Jake Hadley, he let little tiny Jake Hadley come up from 125 pounds on short notice and basically walk him down. Jake Hadley's not good. Jake Hadley lost to Cameron Smotherman on short notice. Cameron Smotherman's not the best fighter in the world. Jake Hadley's ass. I don't know what we're doing. I really wanted to pick Calvin Loughran because I'm watching these old fights and he looks so good. He looks so promising. I understand why the UFC picked him up. Against Taylor Lapilus, he can't stop the takedown, so he gets wrestle fucked. Then, Angel Pacheco, he's like a human punching bag. But man, Nathan Fletcher, I think he's just going to take down Calvin Loughran again. The issue I'm having is if Calvin Loughran just decides, like, fuck it, I want to fight, he's going to beat the brakes off Nathan Fletcher on the feet. Nathan Fletcher's not a good striker. Calvin Loughran is a world's better striker. Nathan Fletcher, in the first fight, he's getting pieced up for like 5 seconds every single round before he just shoots a takedown. He doesn't even care. Calvin Loughran grabbed like a guillotine in one of them. Nathan Fletcher didn't even care. He'll work out of it later. That's not his primary concern. He just does not want to be striking. Now, Calvin Loughran, with his build, is a tough guy to submit. Nathan Fletcher had a fully locked-in triangle, switched it to a pretty much fully locked-in armbar, and Calvin Loughran didn't tap. He's not going to sleep like that. He worked out of it. He reversed Nathan Fletcher a few times. Calvin Loughran was attempting his own submissions. He'd have to throw up an omoplata. Some weird shit was happening in that fight. I'm picking Nathan Fletcher, but I really don't want to. I don't think Nathan Fletcher's that good. I think this guy probably loses his next fight, obviously, depending on the matchmaking. Because if Calvin Loughran just decides that he wants to fight today, he's going to beat the shit out of Nathan Fletcher, and he's going to like 30-27 him. If Calvin Loughran can stuff the takedowns, this fight's going to look easy for him. The problem is he just stands there and looks timid and then gets taken down. We haven't seen the Calvin Loughran that we saw in the regional scene. I think for that reason, Nathan Fletcher is going to take him down probably for 3 straight rounds, and he's going to win 30-27, Nathan Fletcher. It's a pick 'em for the reason of Calvin Loughran absolutely can beat Nathan Fletcher. We just don't know if he wants to. Next fight up here, we have one that I'm not too happy to break down. We have Shauna Bannon taking on Pooja Tomar. Now, guys, this fight right here, I think this is supposed to be a setup for Pooja Tomar, but at the same time, it's in England, so I really don't know. Because Pooja Tomar can't grapple. She objectively sucks at grappling. And that's coming from a fucking white belt, okay? Imagine a world where you're fighting like Stamp Fairtax. Okay, for those who don't know, Stamp Fairtax, obviously, she was like dating Rod Tang for a while, the Muay Thai. Stamp is phenomenal Muay Thai, phenomenal kickboxing. Made the transition to MMA. They're feeding her a bunch of kind of cans, people who aren't really going to take her down so she can work on her game slowly but surely. Pooja Tomar was one of those cans. Stamp throws a body kick. Pooja Tomar goes for like a little... She catches the kick, goes for an inside trip. She like falls down with the takedown and then gives her back to Stamp after the take, like instantly. Not once, but twice she does this. And then Stamp, in her 3rd ever professional fight, I believe, maybe 4th, she's able to reverse Pooja Tomar, flatten her out on her face, and then ground and pound her until oblivion. What are you doing? And Pooja Tomar, that's her one TKO loss. Her other loss is, guess what? Submission. Like, she can't grapple. She's not even getting submitted by fighters that are good, like UFC caliber fighters. And I mean, absolutely no disrespect to like the Asian, Indian type regional scene, but the girls she's losing to are not quality fighters. These are fighters that wouldn't sniff the UFC even if they wanted to. I genuinely don't think Pooja Tomar belongs in the UFC, but I also don't think Shauna Bannon belongs in the UFC. And again, both these girls would probably beat the fucking brakes off me. Who am I to talk? I don't know. But I just don't think they're good fighters. And Shauna Bannon, like I've been saying, Pooja Tomar can't grapple. Well, Shauna Bannon can't grapple either. Not really like defensively flawed. She's never been submitted, but at the same time, she's never submitted anyone. She's a 0% takedown accuracy in the UFC. She's 0 for 4, went 0 for 2 in both of her fights. Kind of lackluster attempts, not really committing to like takedown. She's not pushing forward and grappling heavy. This fight right here, both girls are going to want to strike. I don't see anyone shooting takedowns. Pooja Tomar in her last fight, she stuffed a couple takedowns from Rayanne Amanda. It's going to be the same thing, I think. Pooja Tomar is just going to back up, throw her body kick, throw her head kick. It's just going to be backing up. She's going to role play Alex Pereira. Except Shauna Bannon doesn't have the power of Ankalaev to rock him in a couple of those rounds. It's going to be Shauna Bannon walking forward, Pooja Tomar walking backwards, unless Shauna Bannon wants to grapple. And again, last fight, pretty much nobody thought Pooja Tomar won that fight. The judge that had it 30-27 is on crack. That guy snorted cocaine before the fight. I don't know what he was watching. Pooja Tomar should not win this fight, but at the same exact time, I would not be surprised if she did. If that makes any sort of... This fight's going to be super sloppy, back and forth. No one's really going to be happy with whoever wins, I think. It'll probably be 29-28 for whoever wins. Most likely a split decision. I'm going to look at the odds for the fight to go to split decision. If you're in the Discord with me, I sent out the opening odds were insane. They had Pooja Tomar minus 300. So we snagged up Shauna Bannon like plus 220. I'm happy with that. I'm going to sit there. My pick is Shauna Bannon by decision. I don't think Pooja Tomar is good enough to do this. I think Shauna Bannon's going to get at least one takedown. She's going to throw 2 again, probably. She's going to go 1 for 2. But I think that takedown's going to secure a round. And I really do think Shauna Bannon should win this fight. But yeah, like I said, if you're in the Discord, we got her at plus 210. She's currently like minus 200. So, what do you know, man? Discord's eating again. Then coming up to the middleweight division, we have Christian Leroy Duncan taking on Andre Puliev. Yeah, now this one right here is the first of 2 Chris Duncans on the card. We have the actual Chris Duncan later on, but we have Christian Leroy Duncan here. He's taking on Andre Puliev, and I'm here to tell you guys this fight smells like a trap. I don't think Christian Leroy Duncan is smart. We're talking about fights here. Maybe smarts don't matter, but this guy just makes some of the most questionable in-fight decisions I've ever seen. Super talented fighter, very talented, but he struggles when guys make him messy. I don't know what the hell he was doing against Armen Petrosian. He was trying to highlight real Petrosian, ends up losing the fight. Then against Gregory Rodriguez, he got taken down, kind of big man, bodied him. Andre Puliev, he does have a little bit of wrestling upside. Not a ton. I'm not expecting this guy to come out here like Khamzat Chimaev and take him down and ragdoll him on the mat, but I think he can work in a takedown or two. Puliev, super, super kind of raw, unproven type fighter. Now you might be looking at it like Christian Leroy Duncan only has one more professional fight than Andre Puliev, and yes, that is true, but Christian Leroy Duncan's fighting in Cage Warriors. I trust the Cage Warriors regional scene more than Shlemenko Fighting Championship. No offense to the organization, I'm not too familiar with it. I think his regional scene experience doesn't count for as much as Cage Warriors does. However, I don't think it's like a trash. I don't think they're just feeding him cans. These guys all have decent records. There's one guy he fought that has 65 professional fights by the age of 30. That's insane. But I think Puliev's going to be able to keep Christian Leroy Duncan kind of at bay on the feet. The reach says it's about the same here, like with the half-inch disparity. I think Puliev's going to have a longer reach. I don't know if that fact is correct, but maybe I'm wrong. Christian Leroy Duncan does have some super long arms. But I think Puliev can keep him at bay with the kicks. He has the wrestling upside. I'm super tempted to take Puliev to win the fight, but I just think Christian Leroy Duncan's got more high-level experience. I think he's going to be able to dog it out. I would say do not bet on this fight at all. Do not put Christian Leroy Duncan on your parlays at minus 400 or 500. Let's see what this guy's odds are right now. He was like minus 400 the other day, and that was insane. He should never be minus 400. Ooh, he is minus 550. Absolutely not. Yeah, I see this fight going long. I think this one's going to the cards. I don't think Christian Leroy Duncan's going to find a finish here. Puliev, he's been chinned once, and it was by an undefeated Russian who was supposed to fight in Contender Series, but I don't know. I think Puliev is a better fighter than the odds are suggesting here. I'm going to take Puliev plus 3.5 points at plus 250. I like that a lot. I just saw that line right now. I'm going to put some money on that. I think Puliev's good enough to win a round. Whether he secures it with the grappling or just keeps him at bay with the striking, not a lot happens. The official pick's going to be Christian Leroy Duncan. I sound like kind of a pussy because I'm explaining to you guys why these odds should be closer, but then I'm still picking the favorite. I just don't, man, it's a hard fight. I think Christian Leroy Duncan's a more proven fighter. Give me him by decision. Next fight up here, we have Marcin Tybura taking on Mick Parkin. I'm just going to be 100% honest, guys. I think Mick Parkin sucks. Mick Parkin, I don't believe he is a quality fighter. I don't think he should be anywhere near the rankings. I think Tybura is going to send this dude back to the apex. But let me tell you why. Mick Parkin, let's go. Leading into the Contender Series, everyone was kind of wondering how this guy was he was like a 3-1 underdog on the Contender Series. Let me read you the records of the opponents he fought before the Contender Series. 1-10, 2-17, 2-3, 7-7, 6-9. The guy fought cans. Yes, he's knocking them all out. He should be. He's like a moderately in shape heavyweight. I'm sure if I click on any one of these guys' profiles, there's going to be some fat dude out of shape. Oh, look at that. His first ever win's a guy whose account has been flagged for throwing fights. What are we doing? Mick Parkin is not going to beat Marcin Tybura. What is he going to do? Tybura's going to plot forward. He's going to throw the shitty-ass little straight he does, and then he's probably going to get a takedown. He's going to push Mick Parkin to the cage. He's going to pick him up. He's going to dunk him. Now, Mick Parkin is a little bit more in shape than Tybura, maybe. But I don't think it matters, man. Mick Parkin sucks. His wins, let me run you through his UFC wins. Jamal Pogues, garbage, out of the UFC. Kyle Machado, garbage, out of the UFC. Muhammad Usman, garbage, about to lose to Hamdi, and he's going to be out of the UFC. Lukasz Brzeski, this guy's been knocked out fucking 4 times in the UFC. I don't care. He did not beat Walter Walker. This guy's 0-6 in the UFC. He got knocked out in the first, out of the UFC. I mean, Muhammad Usman is this guy's best win. I unironically think Eduardo Neves, the dude he beat on the Contender Series, is the best win on his resume. I think he might mean this guy at least went and retained his LFA championship. Mick Parkin has fought nobody. And I think experience matters. Marcin Tybura has twice as many UFC fights as Mick Parkin has fights in general. I was getting a lot of shit for picking Yuyan Kutelaba against Ibo Aslan. I said, right here in this camera, you guys can go back and watch it. I think Kutelaba, his recent fights have shown that he's taking his career a lot more seriously. He's only 31. This guy's incredibly young. I mean, Aslan's 28. He's also incredibly young. But Kutelaba's had his lessons. This guy's had just as many UFC fights as Ibo Aslan has had professional fights. Kutelaba has been in the UFC longer than Ibo Aslan has been fighting in MMA. Experience matters. There's levels to this shit. Marcin Tybura is going to show it. I think he's going to submit Mick Parkin with relative ease. If it's not a submission, it'll be ground and pound like his last fight. Jonata Deniz is also not that good. Took him down, battered him, cut him up, fucking bleeding all over the canvas. Marcin Tybura is old. He's an unk. He's got a crazy haircut, but man, this guy's been here for a while. He knows how to win. Mick Parkin, he's new to the game. Marcin Tybura has been in the UFC for 1 month shorter time than Mick Parkin's entire career. Mick Parkin's amateur debut was 1 month before Marcin Tybura was signed to the UFC. This guy's been here forever. You want to talk in just the last 5 years? You don't want to go back that far? That's fine. Let's talk in the last 5 years. Who has Marcin Tybura lost to? He lost to the new revamped Sergey Spivak. Slick armbar off the back. Nobody really saw that coming. I didn't see many people picking Spivak by submission. That was crazy. Spivak's on a good run. Tom fucking Aspinall, the champion. And then Volkov, a guy who a lot of people consider the #1 contender right now. Do we think Mick Parkin is on the caliber of these fighters? I don't. I mean, Marcin Tybura inside the distance all day of the week. Next one here, Loner Kavanaugh taking on Felipe Dos Santos. This is going to be a very high-paced fight. Both strikers. I think this fight's going to be very entertaining for the fans. Probably the people's main event. And Loner Kavanaugh, man, this guy's a beast. He's so fast. He moves in and out of the pocket. He's jumping around. He's going to throw kicks, but he's primarily he likes to use his hands. The 1-2 is always there. The hooks are there. Felipe Dos Santos, this guy we've seen recently, again, same speed, very high-pressure striker, shoot-to-box guy. He has that same kind of style, the wild man style, but he gets put on his back and he doesn't have a lot to offer. We saw Andre Lima last time out. He didn't like the striking. He was getting his ass kicked on the feet. Guess what he did? He took Felipe Dos Santos down, and Felipe Dos Santos didn't have an answer for him. Loner Kavanaugh, we haven't really seen him take the fight to the ground like that. Only Loner Kavanaugh shot a takedown in his UFC debut and Contender Series. Felipe Dos Santos sure as hell ain't shooting takedowns. I think if these guys are standing here banging, this is a very, very competitive fight. People are high on Loner Kavanaugh. He's still got that undefeated aura. Let's not forget the kind of aura that Felipe Dos Santos had after that Manel Cap fight. Now, I'm saying it again. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Manel Cap is a dirty fucking cheater. This guy's clearly on steroids now. He's kicking people in the nuts. He's stabbing people in the eyes. But Felipe Dos Santos fought him in his purest form before the steroids. For everyone, he hopped on steroids after losing to Mokaev. No doubt in my mind. In his last fight, he literally has a breast growing on him. Full-on breast when he gets his hand raised. You can see the full cup. Shit's disgusting. But Felipe Dos Santos held his own. It was like 30-27, but ultra-competitive rounds. I think 2 of those rounds were very close. I agree Manel Cap should have won, but Felipe Dos Santos is no bum on the feet. He's a bum on the mat, but I don't think this fight's going to get there. I think if this fight stays standing, Felipe Dos Santos is going to hold his own. Loner Kavanaugh, I don't think he's going to put Felipe Dos Santos out. I think this one's going long. And give me Felipe Dos Santos. I think this line on Loner Kavanaugh is absolutely insane. He's like a 4-1 favorite right now. This fight's going to be very, very competitive in my opinion. I don't think either fighter's going to find a finish. I don't see Loner Kavanaugh wrestling. The only way he should be minus 400 is if people know that he's going to wrestle. Because if you wrestle, you're going to be Felipe Dos Santos. That's an easy one. But purely striking, I think this fight should be maybe minus 150, Loner Kavanaugh. I took Felipe Dos Santos on his point spread, plus 3.5. Got that at plus 115. I think those are great odds. I think Felipe Dos Santos wins outright. But I'm going to stay a little conservative. All he needs is 1 round. And I think we can do that. Give me Felipe Dos Santos by decision. Next fight up, we have one that is very controversial to a lot of people. Jai Herbert, Chris Padilla. I'm seeing a lot of people on Chris Padilla. And I'm seeing a lot of people on Jai Herbert, man. People are torn on this fight. Gotta go Chris Padilla. I don't feel great about it, but let me explain why. I think Jai Herbert is going to have a very, very clear striking advantage. I think on the feet, this fight's not even close. Like, not even remotely close. Last time out, we picked Chris Padilla to beat Rong Zhu. The only underdog on that entire card to win, by the way, we picked that. We said in the video he's going to get in close. When this fight's a dog fight, Chris Padilla is going to thrive. Rong Zhu was beating him up. But guess what? The second he landed that step-in elbow, he got in close. Landing hooks in the pocket, the elbow up top. Look what happened. The fight got stopped. Chris Padilla thrives when the fight's dirty. I don't know if he's going to be able to get to the inside like that on Jai Herbert. This guy's range management is good. His range striking is actually really good. But I think Chris Padilla can mix in the takedowns, which is where this fight's probably going to be dependent on. Now, I'm done betting guys that chalk to land takedowns. I bet on Ringen Nakamura to wrestle Muin Gufurov. Guess what? He just decided not to wrestle. The amount of times that's been happening recently, you can't pay chalk on these guys to wrestle. So what bet did I take? I took Chris Padilla, inside the distance, decision, no action. What this bet means is that if Chris Padilla wins by submission or knockout, I cash my bet. It's minus 130, I get paid out at minus 130. If Jai Herbert wins a decision, I get a refund. If Chris Padilla gets a decision win, I get a refund. Basically, the only way I lose my bet is if Jai Herbert finishes Chris Padilla, which I absolutely do not see. Chris Padilla has been finished up on the mat twice. He got caught once back in the day. I don't think that's going to happen here. I don't think Jai Herbert's going to take him down and submit him. I think Chris Padilla inside the distance decision, no action is a very good bet. I expect the odds on that to be like minus 200 by fight day. Jai Herbert, I don't see him as a finisher. It's been decisions for him recently. Decision against Bedoya, decision against Ziam, decision against Ludovic, Kyle Nelson. He obviously got knocked out by Taporia. But ever since then, I mean, it's been mostly decisions. I think this fight most likely goes long, in which case I'd favor Jai Herbert. But I do like Chris Padilla. I think he can get it done inside the distance. Give me that bet. Might throw a little sprinkle on Chris Padilla by submission. We'll see how I'm feeling. Next up, a fight I'm very excited for. We have Morgan Charrier taking on Nathaniel Wood. These guys are both very, very experienced for their respective ages. And I'm picking Morgan Charrier. Let me explain this to you guys. I've never been high on Nathaniel Wood. A lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, were arguing with me back when we did the London card breakdown for last year. It's crazy to think we've almost been doing this for a year now. I think that was one of the first cards I broke down, Muhammad versus Edwards. I sat right here in this chair, and I gave you guys Bilal Muhammad moneyline. I also sat in this same chair, and I told you Nathaniel Wood's not a fight finisher. So many people were arguing with me, whether it be in the Discord, a bunch of different random servers I'm in, online, comment sections. Oh, Nathaniel Wood's going to finish Daniel Pineda. No, he's not. Nathaniel Wood's going to beat Pineda. He's not going to get caught in a first-round submission, but he's not going to finish him. I know Nathaniel Wood's not a finisher. He's not going to finish Morgan Charrier. If anything, Morgan Charrier is going to finish Nathaniel Wood. Nathaniel Wood is shown to have an off button. At 145, we haven't quite seen it, but I mean, who has he fought? Charles Jourdain, that's a guy's a blown up 135 where he dropped back down, had good success against Victor Henry. Charles Rosa, who? Obviously, no disrespect to Charles Rosa. I know who he is. He's a guy with like 10 UFC losses. I don't think too highly of that win. We got Andre Fili, coin flip Fili. He lost to Muhammad Naimov. Naimov was cheating. It is what it is. He still was in a way closer fight than he should have been with a guy like Naimov. And then Daniel Pineda. I don't think Nathaniel Wood is as good as he once was thought to be. I think Morgan Charrier is pretty much the present. A lot of people are talking about the fact that he has 10 losses. Dude, you want to talk about who he's lost to? Chepe Mariscal. I thought he won that fight. I thought that was pretty clear. I think that was a bad decision. He lost to Paul Hughes. Jordan Vucenic. Soren Bach. If you don't know anything about Soren Bach, that guy's legit. Only one loss in his entire career. Fighting over in Bellator, hasn't fought in a little bit, but he's legit. And he fought some undefeated Russian dude. Okay, fair. It was a majority decision the guy won. It was a very close fight. And Saladin Parnasse? Are you kidding me? This guy's widely considered to be the best fighter not in the UFC. This guy is legit. I think Saladin Parnasse, didn't he just take one of his only 2 losses? Yes, when he was challenging for his 3rd belt in KSW. I think he's a 145er who had the 145, 155, and he was trying for the 170 belt. Yeah, Saladin Parnasse came back down, reunified his 145 belt, challenged for the 170 belt in the same year. He lost a decision. He was just way undersized. And then he went back, reunified his 155 belt, defended his 155 belt, and he has another 155 belt defense coming up. This guy is insane. He has wins over like all these French regional guys like William Gomi and stuff. Speaking of which, Morgan Charrier has a submission win over William Gomi. I just think Morgan Charrier is more well-rounded. He's got more dog in the tank. He's going to come forward. He's going to be the one pressuring. He can do it all. He has fight-ending ability. I don't think Nathaniel Wood has anything for Morgan Charrier. He can shoot takedowns. I don't think he's going to be able to hold Morgan Charrier. It's going to be Charrier. I'm going to go by decision. I think decision favors Wood more, but I do think Morgan Charrier can still get it done on the cards. This is another where I kind of look at that inside the distance decision, no action bet, but it's like minus 300 for Charrier. I'm not going to put too much into that. If you guys are in the Discord, again, I gave you guys Morgan Charrier moneyline. When the odds first dropped, they were literally backwards for some reason. I have Morgan Charrier 1 unit on him at plus 185. I got him as almost a 2-1 dog in a fight where I thought he should be a 3-1 favorite. So I'm happy with that all day. Give me Morgan Charrier to get it done. Next fight up, we have Jordan Vucenic, the UFC newcomer. He has one fight in the promotion, but it was short notice. And then we have Chris Duncan, a dude who has never once quit. Now, Jordan Vucenic, he's typically a 145er, but he's a very tall, big 145er. He's coming up to 155. He said this is where he wants to stay in the UFC, and I think he's going to fit in just fine. The only issue is he's got Chris Duncan in front of him. This is the second Chris Duncan. We had another one early on. Guys, this fight's tough. Jordan Vucenic, I'm picking Jordan Vucenic to win this fight by decision. But man, this one's tough. To kind of beat Chris Duncan, you have to more or less kill him. His 2 losses are he got strangled by Manuel Torres. Okay, that'll happen. Manuel Torres is fucking insane in that first round. And then Vyacheslav Borshev caught him with a hook. Now this one, the Vyacheslav one's a little tough. It was Contender Series, so you could say, he wasn't fully ready. He wasn't built into the UFC yet. But Chris Duncan, if you watch his Charlie Campbell second Contender Series fight, holy shit, man. Dana White was jumping out of his chair. Charlie Campbell hit him with like 3 flush uppercuts. He pushed him into the cage. Chris Duncan's borderline unconscious, trying to shoot a takedown. Stands back up. He's wobbling around a little bit. He just finds a straight down the pipe and sits him down in 1. Chris Duncan is insanely dangerous. And I think Chris Duncan can finish anybody. He took Yanal Ashmouz to a decision. Balazioki, another guy who was beating him up. And then guess what? Chris Duncan found a way to win. This guy's always finding ways to win. I think with Chris Duncan, it doesn't matter if it's looking good, if it's looking bad. Until the fight's over, you never really know. Chris Duncan is almost always live. We see Jordan Vucenic, I think I could see him maybe finding a submission. Maybe. I think if Jordan Vucenic is going to get it done, if he wants to make a statement, he can find a submission. I don't think that's a bad look. I think Chris Duncan on the feet is actually going to have an advantage, but on the mat it might be a little bit different. I'm actually switching my pick. I'm switching my pick up right now. Give me Jordan Vucenic by submission. I think a decision is live, but again, Chris Duncan is going to be there for all 15. I think you have to strangle him or try to break his arm or something insane to get Chris Duncan to tap out. He might not even. Fuck, Chris Duncan probably won't even tap out. This dude's tough as shit. I'm picking Jordan Vucenic by submission, but let me tell you right now, that is not a high confidence call. I think this fight is lined incorrectly. I think Vucenic should maybe be like a minus 200, not like the minus 500 that I saw the other day. Now we have everyone's favorite Molly McCann. I'm saying that jokingly, taking on Alexia Dayanara. When I first saw this announcement, Big Marcel on Instagram, I was like, shit, Molly McCann, your time has come. Her time had already come. Estela Nunes could have very well beaten Molly McCann. But now she gets Alexia Dayanara. A lot of people are picking Dayanara without even looking at it. Dude, give me Molly McCann. All right. Hear me out. Molly McCann sucks. Awful fighter. I don't think Alexia Dayanara is good. I really don't. They both have losses to Bruna Brazil. That shows the level. If you're losing to Bruna Brazil, you're not a good fighter objectively. But man, I think Alexia is going to be trying to come forward and wrestle. Molly McCann's problem isn't like takedown defense generally. Her problem is like throwing herself into submissions. Dayanara could very well submit Molly McCann. I'm well aware this is a possibility. I'm well aware of that possibility. But I think Molly McCann can thug it out and beat this chick up on the feet. Alexia's going to be high pressure, high volume, but guess what? She's not really doing anything. Super high volume, but for what? It's like Puja Tomar. You might land 100 strikes, but you're not even going to make a cut. You're not going to make a bruise. The guy's going to go out the next day look absolutely fine. Or I guess the gal in this scenario. Molly McCann, she has a little bit of thud in her punches. Not a lot of thud, just a little bit, and that's more than Alexia has. I will never put money on Molly McCann to win a fight, but I think she's very live to win this decision. If this fight ends, I could very well see Dayanara being the one to submit Molly McCann. I'm saying the one like we haven't seen that multiple times, but I think it's possible. Unfortunately, I did pick Molly McCann to knock out Bruna Brazil, but I told you guys in the video, did not put money on it. So I get at least a little bit of redemption for that. But yeah, man. Give me Dayanara by... Do I even have to give a pick for this fight, man? Give me Molly McCann by decision with the possibility of being submitted by Dayanara. I'm giving you guys a real bitch answer here, but I think Molly McCann should win this fight. If she loses this fight, cut her from the fucking UFC. Does not deserve to be fighting. Dayanara sucks. When we were breaking down the Denise Gomes fight when she fought Jasmine, I was questioning why Denise Gomes would even take that fight. I understand, like, it's guaranteed you're in the UFC, then you can come back or whatever, even if you lose. But I told you guys straight up, she was scheduled to fight Alexia Dayanara. I had done my research. I was very into Contender Series at that point. I told you guys, she was going to walk through Alexia Dayanara and do whatever the hell she wanted. There was no need to take the Jasmine Jasudavicius fight. She just took an unnecessary loss on her career. She was going to batter the fuck out of Dayanara. Whatever. Give me... I'm not saying that again, man. You know the drill. Now we have a pick that's probably going to make a lot of people mad. Gunnar Nelson taking on Kevin Holland. Guys, Kevin Holland, he is not our friend. I've been picking against Kevin Holland for a long time now. I'm just going to say it, guys. I see lots of people talking about Kevin Holland's back at 170, dude. He's trying again. It doesn't matter. Whether he's 170 or 185, Kevin Holland, it's not necessarily a difference. He just gets more favorable matchups at 170. At 170, he gets the strikers. The guys he's knocked out, I mean, Alex Oliveira, Tim Means, Santiago Ponzinibbio. Like, really? Michael Chiesa? Michael Chiesa, how many times that guy been Darce choked? Like 4 times? It's not crazy to see Kevin Holland latching up a Darce choke in that. Gunnar Nelson here, this guy's going to be way shorter. He's going to have a way less of a reach. 10-inch reach disadvantage damn near. It should be Kevin Holland all day. It's not. It just simply isn't. Gunnar Nelson does not put himself at risk often. He goes forward. He gets the takedowns. He does his thing. He's a submission specialist. He's averaging 1 submission attempt a fight. Even in the fights he's losing, he's trying submissions, guys. This guy's losses: Gilbert Burns, Leon Edwards. Come on. Santiago Ponzinibbio is the only man to finish him, and that came after an eye poke. Gunnar Nelson couldn't fucking see. The ref didn't call it. Lost way back in the day, like 10 years ago, to Damian Maia, Rick Story. But again, he's not getting finished. Kevin Holland needs to put him out if he wants to win this fight. Kevin Holland's got like a 30% takedown defense. There's a lot of people that have taken Kevin Holland down and just rode it out. And Derek Brunson rustled him. Marvin Vettori rustled him. Brendan Allen rustled him. Hamza Chimaev rustled him. Fucking Roman Dolidze rustled him. RDR rustled. Like every single time he gets rustled, he loses. Chiesa tried. He just got caught in the fucking darts choke because Chiesa can't defend a darts choke. I want to see Kevin Holland win, but I just don't think this is the matchup. Everyone thinks Kevin Holland's good. He's a very high-level striker. Kevin Holland has great striking. This guy's in there. He's hanging with Wonder Boy. He's hanging with MVP. He's hanging with JDM. MVP may be a little bit different. MVP's insane, way better than a lot of people give him credit for. But he's hanging in there with guys like JDM and Wonder Boy, who are 2 of the best strikers in the division. I think if this fight stays on the feet for whatever reason, if Gunnar Nelson comes in, decides he doesn't want to shoot a takedown, Kevin Holland can absolutely win. But the more realistic option is Gunnar Nelson's going to come forward and he's going to rustle Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland's not going to have an answer for it. Give me Gunnar Nelson, first round submission. I think he's going to take down Kevin Holland. Holland's going to give up his back. He's not really going to care. And he's going to get rear naked choked. On to the co-main event, we have Jan Blachowicz taking on Carlos Ulberg. Now, guys, Carlos Ulberg should not be a 3-1 favorite. I'm picking Carlos Ulberg to win this fight by decision, but he should absolutely not be a 3-1 favorite. I don't think Carlos Ulberg is all that. He had a very good performance against Volkan Ozdemir. High pace, he landed a lot of strikes. What can I say? I don't think Jan's going to let that happen. Now, Jan Blachowicz is coming off of double shoulder surgery and like a 2-year layoff. We've made a killing recently betting against guys coming off layoffs. Marvin Vettori, for example. We bet on Roman Dolidze. I think Rakic against Yuri, coming off his knee surgery from the Jan fight. We bet on Yuri. For some reason, they're giving us dog odds on these guys. This one, they're a little bit wiser. Ulberg's kind of all the hype. I just see him as like a hook merchant. This guy's just swinging wide hooks. Maybe he could hit Jan with a couple of those. Jan's not going to go down. Jan's one of the only guys that Pereira couldn't finish. It wasn't for a lack of effort. Blachowicz was rustling the shit out of him. I thought Blachowicz won that fight. I get a lot of hate for that opinion regularly, but I did think Blachowicz did enough to beat that fight or to win that fight. I thought there was a decent argument for him to win the first 2 rounds, but whatever. Jan Blachowicz gassed out and he ended up losing the fight. It is what it is. I think if Jan Blachowicz is anywhere near what he was before the surgery, he's going to take down Carlos Ulberg and win the first round. Now, what he does from there, I'm not entirely sure. He isn't at super elevation. He shouldn't be gassing out. I don't know how his shoulders are feeling. Like, what's his motivation and what's his reason for coming back? Does he need money? Is he not healed? We don't know. Carlos Ulberg, let me just be very, very blunt about this. Carlos Ulberg is not knocking out Jan Blachowicz. If Carlos Ulberg gets a stoppage in this fight, it's because Jan re-aggravates his shoulder injury and he can't continue. It's not because Ulberg is flatline knocking him out. I think 9 times out of 10 this fight's going to decision. I think Carlos Ulberg is going to win that decision, 29-28. But let's not forget, Jan had Pereira in some trouble on the ground. Who is Carlos Ulberg training his jiu-jitsu with? We gotta check these things. It is CKB. Obviously Blachowicz, he ragged out Izzy. But CKB has gotten that footage. They've watched that back. They've had years. They're kind of building up Ulberg. He's the next prospect that's going to fight Jan. They kind of know what to expect. I don't think anything Jan brings to the table is going to be something new that they're not expecting. So give me Carlos Ulberg by decision. Now for the main event, UFC London. Leon Edwards taking on Sean Brady. These guys are both some studs. These guys have 2 collective losses, 1 apiece, in the last 10 years. And both of them were to Belal Muhammad. Belal Muhammad literally beat Sean Brady so badly that people thought Sean Brady sucked. I remember Kelvin Gastelum was the favorite to Sean Brady. Kelvin Gastelum was favored over Sean Brady because of the recency bias of the Belal finish. Belal has a way of melting people. You can't replicate that even if you tried. Sean Brady was arguably doing better in the striking than Leon Edwards was against Belal because Sean Brady didn't care about being taken down. Sean Brady borderline wanted to be taken down. Leon Edwards, we saw he got dunked on his fucking bald spot. Leon Edwards didn't want to get taken down. Now, I've been saying this for a while. The reason I picked Sean Brady to massacre Gilbert Burns, Sean Brady is just like a pocket Belal. He's like a Belal Jr. He's like a Belal you keep in your back pocket. He does the same stuff Belal does, just a little bit lower level. I don't know if you need to be a full Belal to beat Leon Edwards in the same way. I mean, everyone's talking about Leon Edwards. Well, he just fought Belal. Sean Brady's worse than Belal. He can get it done. Usman. He fluked Usman the first time. I'm done pretending like it was anything less than a fluke. It just simply wasn't. Second fight, Usman comes back. He's got miles on him. He's not the same Usman. Good win for Leon. I'll give him credit for that. And against Colby Covington, he pretty much laid an egg. I don't know what the hell Colby Covington was doing either, but Leon Edwards didn't do shit. And then against Belal, we all know what happened. Sean Brady, on the other hand, he's kind of butchering Gilbert. He Kimura'd fucking Kelvin. Kimura is typically something that doesn't really work in MMA. We were just talking about this the other night. There were 2 Kimuras in one night. Like, when's the last time you've seen a Kimura in the UFC? It was probably Kelvin Gastelum getting Kimura by Sean Brady. Now, funnily enough, Sean Brady actually has a win over a guy named Rocky Edwards, so I think we've already got this one decided here. I'm picking Sean Brady. I think Sean Brady's going to be able to replicate Belal's game plan enough to the point where it's effective. He doesn't have the pressure that Belal has. Leon Edwards is going to be winning the striking. It isn't going to look like the Belal fight where Belal is just running through him, winning every single round on the feet and the ground, just about. It's not going to look like that. But the difference between Belal and Sean Brady is the instincts on the ground. Belal, he's very good at what he does. He holds you down, brings you to the cage. He might take your back. He's going to hold you there and punch you down. Sean Brady is going to get you there. He's going to choke you out. He's going to strangle you. He's going to break your arm. I'm picking Sean Brady to submit Leon Edwards. Bet you haven't heard that pick all week. I think Sean Brady, just based off watching the Belal fight, I understand Sean Brady doesn't have the same level of takedowns as Belal. Belal's wrestling's different. We know this by now. Sean Brady will take Leon down. Whether that be once, whether it be twice, whether it be 3, all the way up to 10 times like Belal did. And once Leon gets down, he doesn't have to worry about having Belal on his back, where he's just going to get peppered up with the sliding like hammer fist or whatever you want to call that. No, Sean Brady, he's digging under the neck. He's fishing for an arm. Sean Brady's looking to end the fight every single time he's on the ground. I think Sean Brady, I'm just watched the Belal versus Leon fight back literally like an hour ago before I started recording this video. Watched it back. I've watched that fight multiple times this week. But again, the positions Belal's putting himself in against Leon, it's not typically what you see from Belal. You see Belal kind of camping the half guard. He's not really even getting to mount or anything. He's not really getting back control. Sean Brady, if Sean Brady gets the back of Leon Edwards even half as easily as Belal Muhammad did, Leon Edwards is getting strangled in the first 3 rounds. I don't think that Leon has the dog in him. His coach is going to be clip farming again, like the end of the 4th round when Leon's down on the scorecards, getting grapple fucked. Give me Sean Brady. I think he's going to win this fight by submission, and I think he's going to make it look relatively easy. So that'll do it. UFC London, Edwards versus Brady. If you guys enjoyed the breakdown, drop a comment, drop a like. Let me know your lock of the night in the comments below. Hope to see you guys in the Discord, man. We're still giving out all the free plays and stuff. Taking a little break from the NBA. It's been super weird, but we got hockey free plays. We got UFC free plays, of course. You saw what we did last week. We picked Carlos Vera plus 600. We didn't quite have any dogs that were that big on this card, but hoping to find some good dog value. If you want to join the VIP, that's where we have every single one of the bets. But honestly, for the most part, I've been giving out the bets for free. Not a lot of people in there, for some reason, tail the UFC, which is weird. But they like tailing the NBA, the hockey, all that stuff. So that's what the VIP is more for. In the best bets video, I'm probably going to be giving you guys most of my UFC bets, so you don't have to join the VIP. Not going to push you to pay me if you don't want to. And yeah, we'll see you in that one, man. Peace out.